Welcome into another edition of Sports Junkies here at RacinSportsZone.com. I'm Steve Sparky Fifer from Sports Radio 105.7 FM, The Fan, weekday afternoons from 2 to 6 on the Wendy's Big Show. He, of course, is Gery Woelfel from the Racine Journal-Times. And time to do a little Packer talk and talk about that Packer football team.
Why do you feel compelled to say Packer talk?
I don't know.
I know it's
I've done it for so long.
It's natural.
I just do it now.
Okay.
But this football team, I guess I'm not really all that surprised by what happened. A lot of people thought they should have blown out the Atlanta Falcons. Mm-hmm. Going into the game, I really thought that the Falcons were looking at the Packers like the Packers look at the Seahawks, a team they just can't get over the hump on. They have to figure out a way to beat. They were going to get up for that game. And in the first half, it's like, hey, Packers are going to roll. It's going to be a blowout. Mm-hmm. And there was just no way the Falcons were just going to roll over and play dead in that second half. They didn't. They made it a game. They had a chance with an onside kick to possibly recover and then win the game because of the Crosby blocked extra point again, second one this year from earlier in the game.
And Julio Jones looked like Jerry Rice.
I don't know if Jerry Rice ever had 259 yards receiving.
No, he hasn't.
No.
But, I mean, it was just incredible. I mean, everybody knew Julio Jones is a great receiver, but I think that performance really opened up a lot of eyes and saying, hey, he is one of the top 2-3 receivers in the NFL. He's an incredible talent.
Okay, look, I don't disagree that Julio Jones is really good.
Yeah.
Okay, and very talented. But some of this definitely, I think, falls on the Packer defense and the scheme that they were trying to run on Julio Jones. I don't get it because you've seen teams essentially take Jordy Nelson out of a football game. You've seen it happen. You've seen teams take other prominent receivers out.
Sure.
I'm not saying they had to take him out and hold him under 50 yards receiving.
Right.
But there is no way on God's green earth any receiver in the National Football League should get 259 yards against any defense in the National Football League. I don't care if it's the Raiders you're playing. You should not get 259 yards.
I agree. I mean, that was
that's ridiculous.
It was. But at the same point, their other wide receiver is pretty darn good, too.
Roddy White, so he was coming off injury.
You're kind of picking your poison. If you lay off of Roddy White, he can hurt you.
I'll take my chances. I'll take my chances with Roddy White, who's, in my opinion, not as good as he was. And then their third receiver is Harry Douglas, who's nice and had 90-some yards receiving the previous week when Roddy White was out with injury. But again, neither one are Julio Jones.
And I'll tell you what. Everybody got down on Matt Ryan for making some bonehead plays, and he certainly did that.
He does every week.
That pass out in the flat was just totally ridiculous. I mean, that was like a grade school decision. But I'll tell you what, he threw some fantastic passes. I mean, a couple times, Packer defenders were draped over Julio Jones, and he threaded it. I mean, you got to give him credit, too.
Sure. And Sam Shields was awful. And I love Sam, but he was awful. Devon House played Jones better than Sam did.
He did. I thought that was a good move, getting him. I mean, it was a necessity, but he played well.
Morgan Burnett had an interception for the first time in like a million games. Mm-hmm. So that was good that he remembers how to intercept the football. So that was a positive for the defense. But you just look at that game, and you look at the Packers' offense as they continue to roll. Now, Rodgers was mad that they only got 12 points in the second half of that game, that they should have continued to kind of keep rolling.
Right.
But you're seeing the Packer offense continue to evolve a little bit. Whether you agree with it or not, this is how it's going, it looks like. And that is Eddie Lacy getting the ball in the backfield and out of the backfield, getting the ball thrown to him. And now you spike in James Starks. He averages over, 7.5 yards per carry in the amount of carries that he had. Again, like I said, whether you like it or not, and me personally, I don't, but whether you like it or not, it's working.
Well, that's fine. You can do that against a team like the Atlanta Falcons and some of your run-of-the-mill defenses. But the biggest game comes December 28th when they play the Lions.
Oh, that's not a big game.
That might kill the Packers.
Don't worry about the Packers. No.
You take
the Packers could be in the playoffs this weekend. With a win and I believe a Cowboy loss, the Packers clinch a playoff spot.
Are the Cowboys going to lose? I doubt if the Cowboys are going to lose.
Well, maybe not, but I'm just saying they're right there to clinch right now.
Who knows, maybe the Packers could lose in Buffalo, too. I'm not totally dismissing that.
Sure they could. But this was proposed to us on the Big Show the other day by a listener. Would you rather win the division and have the Seahawks get in, or lose the division, be in the playoffs, and have the Lions win the division and the Seahawks not make it?
The latter.
Right. Everybody agreed.
Absolutely.
Detroit can win the division. We'll be a wild card and Seattle's out.
But get back to your run game here. that's all well and good against some of these teams, but when they play Detroit's got the best run defense in the NFL. Those guys are monsters up front, and that's why the Packers have trouble with them. Every game the Lions come in, they are not fearful of the Packers because they are a much more physical team. That front four is as good as it gets in the NFL today.
This is what I know.
Yeah.
I know that the Packers hate the Lions.
And the Lions hate them.
The Lions hate them. The Packers' offensive line definitely does not like the Detroit Lions' defensive line. This will not be a game in which the Packers' offensive line, and I'm not saying this has happened, but they're going to be up and ready for that game, and they're going to be ready for a brawl in the trenches. I'm just telling you, they're going to be ready for a brawl. And I'm not ruling out personal foul flag penalties and everything else going on between the offensive line and the Detroit Lions defensive line. It's going to be a fight. It is.
I was
now,
laughing at
will McCarthy be disciplined enough, and Rodgers, maybe more Rodgers than McCarthy, to still run the football in that game?
They're stupid if they do. They will have no success at all.
Because if you don't run the football, and you go, we give up, the Packers' offensive line is screwed. Because then it's just pin your ears back and kill Aaron Rodgers. And there's no threat recon game because they quit running the football. If they do that, then Rodgers may get hurt.
I was laughing at you, Kevin, when you were talking about the defensive line and how they don't like each other. I remember one play specifically in the last Bears-Packer game. They lined up Sue at left defensive end. Okay, normally he's inside. So you're thinking he's going to come around the edge, right? No. They had Fairley take a direct hit over, I think it was whoever was in front of him. And Sue came down, and he just blasted Lang, because Lang never saw him coming, right? I mean, it was borderline dirty. I mean, so it was clean, but it was a shot. I mean, very seldom do you see an offensive line take a shot like that.
It's going to be a street fight. But again, that's the Lions.
Yeah.
That's weeks away at this point. The
Can't
Buffalo
wait.
Bills is the next matchup. This defense is something to be fearful of about a little bit. They're among the league leaders in sacks. They can get to the quarterback with that front seven. They create mismatch problems on their defensive line against the Packers' offensive line, well, against any offensive line at this point. And you have to go to Buffalo to play that football game.
How many feet of snow they still have in Buffalo? Has it gone?
I have no idea.
6 feet of snow.
But see, the question is going to be not whether or not the Packers can score. I think the Packers will be able to score points.
Yeah.
The question is going to be can the Packer defense show up again and shut down a pathetic offense led by Kyle Orton? That's what I want to see.
Right.
Sammy Watkins.
Exactly. That's what I'm curious about.
Fred Jackson, stop.
No.
I mean, he's okay, but he's nothing special. Sammy Watkins, you just take him out of the game. You can take him out of the game.
Don't take him out of the game. He's on my
done with it.
fantasy football league team. I'm in the semifinals. I can ill afford to have a bad Sammy Watkins.
I'm not in playoffs. Take out Sammy Watkins in this game, and then we don't have to worry about it. They should be able to win this football game just because the Packers defense should be able to maintain and do a good job.
You know what the Bills are at home, by the way? What do you think? 7 games at home.
5-2.
I thought they were pretty good at home, right? 4-3.
Nothing special.
Nothing at all.
Nothing special. So, all right, prediction time. Packers, Bills, who you got?
Packers will kill them.
Kill them?
Kill them. Yeah. They got a couple good players in Buffalo, but nobody wows you.
That Buffalo
Nobody
defense
wants, yeah.
is tough. I can't say kill them.
By killing, my definition is 10 points or more, and I'll say they won by more than 10.
All right, I was going to say 10 points. So somewhere in that area.
I'll say it's even like 15 to 18.
All right.
Okay.
So we both take the Packers. He is Gery Woelfel of the Racine Journal-Times. I'm Steve Sparky Fifer, Sports Radio 105.7 FM, The Fan in Milwaukee. This is RacineSportsZone.com. Enjoy the rest of your day.